Welcome to ZenTech Teach, your center for teacher-created resources and tutorials. Hey ZTTers, Caitlin here, back again with a new tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create digital interactive notebooks. And we're going to be using Google Slides to create these notebooks. They could be shared on any learning management system that you can share any Google products on. In the past, we've all used paper notebooks. And I want you to really think about how going digital with a notebook can change what's inside that notebook. So whether it's a writer's notebook or it's notes and vocabulary or it's an investigation notebook, if it's digital, what could you add that we couldn't do on paper? This is going to be really helpful for any classrooms that are doing hybrid or digital learning right now. And it's going to allow you to get higher engagement from your students and organize your materials into one place, all of your digital materials for students to access. So first I'm going to show you how to set something like this up, and then I'll give you some ideas of what you can do with your digital notebooks. So the first thing you want to do is open up your Google Drive. We're going to click the new button and we're going to select a slide stack. Depending on what type of notebook you're creating, you may want to change the page and layout. To do that, go to File and select Page Setup. You can create your own custom dimensions. So if this is something that maybe one day you're going to want to print, you can make it more the size of a sheet of paper. Just like any slides, you can click the plus button to add a new page. You have your background options. You can change your layout, add a theme, add transitions. I'm just going to call this our test slides. So the first thing I would want to do is create a cover for my students. And if you want to get a jump start on that, one of the products I have in my Teachers Pay Teachers store right now is this slide stack of composition notebooks that you can personalize or change. I also have tabs, a couple different types of paper. So you might see me copying and pasting things from this slide stack as I go through and create our sample one. A great way to get a cover is just to change the background color. So if you go to your background and you want to just create kind of a generic cover for everyone, you can get creative and use shapes to add some more dimension. Maybe you want to show, like, if it's a composition notebook, it would have that binding on the side. If you want to get really creative, you can even use more of a rounded shape, because I feel like composition notebooks always have those rounded edges on them. So you can get as creative as you want here, and you can create something for you or let your students create the cover. Know that if you can move it and you share this with your students and they create a copy, they'll also be able to move it. So if you don't want students to be able to kind of disassemble your cover, you can always group your items, or you can take a screenshot you can upload it as a background image. And that way students will not be able to move it. This is a really great option if you're creating some type of worksheet where maybe you just want students to be able to add text boxes without actually changing the entire background layout. Another option here would be to insert an image. So if you go to insert images, you can search from your drive or you can search the web. And maybe you want to just find a composition notebook cover or pattern that you would like to use. My favorite is this one, so I'm going to pull this over for us to use right now. What's really fun here with your students, you can have them create and decorate their cover. You can also use digital stickers here. So if you're going through and you're grading student work, we can also use stickers for feedback and encouragement. I'm just going to grab this lined paper. So you can make this as different looking as you want or as similar as you want to a notebook that you might be using in class, depending on your purpose. Beyond just giving students an area to write in, and anytime they want to write, you can add a text box like this, or one of my favorite little hacks. I love that this says, click here to add a subtitle. So you can actually copy this over onto any of your other pages. And this will remind students that they need to write something here, which is really great. You can also give the text box an outline if you want students to really make sure that they're seeing it. Those are all just some little hacks. Now, if you want to create more of an interactive notebook and not just a digital version of a notebook, I have some examples I'll go through with you. So this is an example of a digital notebook that I created for a social studies class, the topic being the Columbian Exchange. Knowing that your notebook is now digital, you can link students to all of your other resources that maybe you would typically print out and ask them to staple into their notebook or put into their binder. You can also start giving notes then in a digital format. So here students would double click into the box and add the missing word or phrase. Now, instead of giving students multiple packages or multiple pages, I have one notebook, and this is going to combine everything we're doing in this activity. So we can start with our notes, and then we can move into some mapping. And students can drag and drop manipulatives onto the map as they need to. We have so many options once we go digital. Another option would be to embed videos. So if you want students to watch a video and then give you feedback, you can insert the video directly into the notebook. Going through and looking at some other options. Again, here we have some more drag and drop, and we have some color coding. And this might be really great for younger learners. Even though you may not be in the classroom together, they are getting to manipulate the information. So these are just some ideas. I'm going to show you a second one. This is another social studies notebook. This is at the transatlantic slave trade in the Middle Passage. I give students an outline of what we're doing each day, and I give them the ability to check off the activities as they go. These notebooks would get handed in through our learning management system, and I would be able to look over and grade all of their work. So again, I'm able to link to outside resources. This time I'm linking to an Edpuzzle. I have more manipulatives going on for students to use. We have links to documents. I'm giving them writing spaces. I'm connecting them to the rubric, and all of this is in one place. So I'm going to go back to my sample now, and I'll show you how to add in different materials like this. So I'm going to add just a blank page here for us. And most of what we're going to want is going to be under the insert menu. So remember, images we can search on the web or from our drive for pictures, but more important might be adding, because we're doing digital, we could do things we wouldn't normally do, adding audio and video. So if you go to video, the first thing that it's going to come up on is the YouTube menu. You can also search by URL or even videos from your own drive. But here you'll be able to embed any video from YouTube. So maybe I want to have like a crash course world history video here. I can click the video I want, and I can insert it by clicking the blue select button. And now it's going to be embedded into my slides. Over on the side under format options, I can even dictate how it plays. if I want it to play automatically or do I want students to click it, and how much of the video I want them to watch. And this is great if you're doing some type of prediction with students. You can also play around with size, rotating, and all of that, again, under format options. You can always get to format options by right-clicking the video or from your top toolbar. So now I'm going to shrink my video and I can actually add in some directions using a text box. Okay, so once you have your directions here and you make sure everything's spelled correctly, know that you can go through and change your fonts just like you'd be able to do any time that you're using your slides. All of that remains the same. Something else that you can try, especially for struggling learners or ESL students, or if it's in your student's IEP or 504, you can actually use audio and record an oral instruction or an oral explanation of your direction. So if you record any audio on your computer and you drag it into your drive, you'd be able to insert it here. So let me show you how to do that. So I just did a voice memo on my phone, reading these directions out loud. So now that I have dragged it into my Google Drive, I'll be able to go to Insert, Audio, and I can find my recording, select. It's going to create this little icon, and I can have my students now kind of trained to know that if they see this and click play. Directions. View the crash course world history. They'll be able to get those oral directions. Again, format options, I can have it play automatically. I can have it play when they click it. So on and so forth. You can even kind of change the color of the icon if you want it to stand out more for your students. So know that all of that is there under our format options. You probably also want to give your kids a place to write. So again, you can add type here. You could give them the 5 spaces. Another great option would be to create diagrams for our students. So if you go to insert, there are pre-made diagrams from Google. Some of these might be really helpful. Some of these might be a little too fancy. You can always go into our shapes and create a very reliable old-fashioned Venn diagram. That you can use with your students. By creating diagrams online like this, we're giving our students the option to manipulate information and data just like we would in the classroom. Maybe you're going to compare farming practices from pre and post agricultural revolution. You can put the descriptions off on the side for students, and they would be able to drag and drop them into the area of the diagram that they think they fit best. Remember, if you don't want students to be able to move your diagram or your directions around, taking a screenshot is the best way to ensure that they are not able to move all of your information around. Finally, if you're going to have your students using something that isn't linked in YouTube, but you want them to be able to access it from the slide stack, a really great option is by inserting an image and linking it. So I'm going to go to search the web, and maybe I want my students to move on next to an Edpuzzle. So I'm going to just look for the Edpuzzle logo. Now with this image, if I click the image, I can select the link icon. I can send my students to edpuzzle.com or send them the specific link I want them to use for the video, and they'll be able to access it right from our notebook. So again, our notebooks can be pre-made, including a variety of materials that we wouldn't normally get to use with paper binders and notebooks. The last thing I want to show you in this tutorial today is how to use feedback stickers for digital work. In my drive, I have what I'm calling feedback stickers, and they are just little PNGs that I made in Canva with directions or feedback, encouragement as well. And these are stickers that I use in my students' digital work. So if I was grading this assignment and the student did a particularly great job, I can go to Insert, Image from my drive, And it's going to pull up everything recent, and I can add a digital sticker to their work. I can also add them a little note either by using the comment button here, or I can add a text box and add it below my sticker. If you want to try using the encouragement and feedback stickers you see in this video, they're available in my Friends and Freebie folder, linked in my Instagram and also my YouTube profile. So feel free to check those out and download them for free. On my next video, I'm going to show you how to create a linked or updatable version of this notebook for longer things like writer's notebooks or observation notebooks that you want to update throughout the year. I'm going to show you how to link that. So there we have it. I can't wait to see what you and your students create. If you use this tutorial to create a digital notebook for your students, tag it online, share it with me, check out other tutorials and ideas on my Instagram. Let's connect.